Hey everybody, we're out here on Prettyboy Reservoir today, and I'm just kind of creeping along the shoreline here. We tucked into this little area. I don't know if it deserves to be called a cove or not. It's a small little notch, but it's really breezy out today. Oh, check this out. See all those little round areas? Those are all bowers. Those are all little nesting sites for probably sunfish, but it could be bass. I'm guessing sunfish. If I had to bet on it, I would say that that's sunfish nesting in there. Check it out, look at them all. Okay, there's some sunfish there. There's another one there. That's definitely sunfish nesting sites. So that's a lot of them too. You see all that light color underneath the water there. Interesting. All right, well, before I even get done my opening intro, we've already seen something interesting. So today we're going to do something a little different. I normally shoot a lot of segments and then stitch them all together. Today I've got a battery bank attached to my GoPro, so hopefully I can just get like hours of video. And I am shooting video privately for somebody else, and out of that video I will take clips and stitch them all together, and it can be kind of a pain in the butt. It takes a long time to really pull all the little clips out if I've got a lot of personal clips, you know, private clips to sort through. So what I'm going to do today is, for my little public segments here, I'm going to make them longer, but I'm going to have fewer segments, and that way it'll be easier to find them, it'll be easier to stitch them together, and we'll still have a significant enough kayaking video, but I won't have to do so much work editing it. So today, not really sure where we're going to go. I think we're going to go downstream, and by downstream I know this is a lake, but it is actually a lake in a river. It's a dammed up river, so there is still a current flowing technically, and that way is upstream. This is the main channel out here, and then that way is downstream. So you can see the wind is blowing everything this way. If I go too far downstream, it's going to be fighting this all the way back, so I don't know if I want to do that. I may just deal with going straight across, and then we can kind of mess around back there where the trees will give us a little more shelter. That's probably what I'm going to wind up doing. So yeah, I don't think we're going to find any less windy areas over on this side, so we're just going to power our way across. I will take a half a moment to tell you about the little battery bank I've got on my camera. If you can hear me over the wind, as we get out here into the middle, it's going to get much noisier and windier. But I use a GoPro Sessions camera, and it's a tiny little camera, and it does give me about an hour and a half to maybe an hour and 40 minutes worth of video on the settings that I keep it set at. And that's impressive in its own right. It is a tiny little camera. The fact that it gets an hour and a half of battery life is pretty amazing. But when I come out here, I might be out here for 3 or 4 hours, like I said, and I like to get, you know, as much video as I can. So I got a little battery bank that just plugs into the side. I'll cut the film here and show you a little picture of what it looks like I took before we left. So you can probably tell that the door on the side has to stay open in order to be plugged into the battery bank. So I've lost my waterproof capabilities on the camera. So if I were to take a spill, or if it started raining or something like that, my camera would be in trouble. But cross my fingers, hopefully I don't intend on getting wet today, and I don't think I should have any issues with the camera itself getting wet or exposed to water on the inside with it being plugged in like that. And then the bank itself, I experimented with one that was round. It was, they called it a lipstick case, or a lipstick size, and the round shape actually pressed against the side of my head and kind of hurt after a few minutes. This one is square, and that may sound counterintuitive, but having the flat side of it against my head really spreads out the pressure, and you don't really notice it's there after a few minutes. I've actually kind of forgot that I've got extra battery power strapped to the side of my head until I started talking about it. So far, not really causing me any kind of an inconvenience or anything. We'll just have to wait and see, do I get the battery life that I'm anticipating getting out of it or not. So I'll put a link down below if you're interested in checking one out, because you can use it to charge up your cell phone or whatever if you need a little extra battery life with you. You know, just throw it in your pocket or your purse or wherever, and then off you go, and you've got extra battery life. So I'm going to keep on with it. We'll call this the first little opening segment, and eventually we're going to work our way probably over there. I'm just trying to cut across the waves here a little bit obliquely, and so I'll see you guys over there on the other side. All right, everybody, here we are on the other side, and we're all the way in the back of that cove I had pointed to. A bunch of eggs of some sort hanging off the bottom of that branch down there. I don't know what they were. It was like a weird jelly sack. It didn't look like frog eggs, though. Frog eggs are common enough back here. I wonder, there's a path that comes down to the water right there. I wonder who uses that. So we're just going to have a little paddle around back through here. This is a really nice little cove to come back in. I knew if I came back here I would be saying that I wish I had my fishing rod with me, but I did not bring either of my rods with me. But that's all right. Because I like drifting along by the shoreline, and you can't really get underneath the trees and everything if you've got two fishing rods sticking up behind you like a couple of antennae. So I think I've figured out something for us to do that will give us a goal for being out here. And it's all the way at the other end of this cove back behind us, but first I'm going to have to lean back to get under here. Oh no, that wasn't too bad. See, now I can't do that with fishing rods behind me. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to head all the way to the back of this cove. The main body is out there, and it's sort of like a pinch point, and then once you come into this cove it sort of opens up teardrop shape. It's like a big area back here, and we're going to go all the way over into that far corner, and we're going to get out and stretch our legs a little bit. And one of these days, who knows, maybe we'll do it today, and that can be part of the video. I've always wanted to do this and then talk about my Velocity shoes and my Sealskins waterproof socks, but I'm not going to do that in this video. I would do that as a separate video. But that's kind of what my Velocity shoes are designed for. They're designed for portaging your kayak or canoe over land. And when we get back into this far corner, you'll understand what I'm talking about a little more. This piece of land you can see out in front of us is also teardrop shaped, except this is the pinch point, and then it opens up really wide out there. So there's another cove on the other side of these trees, similar to the one we're in, but if we were to get to it by water, we'd have to go all the way back out to the main channel, go all the way around, and then come back in, which is not that long of a journey, and I'd actually kind of planned on doing anyway. But right here where the ground is, where we're going to be getting out of the kayak here in a few minutes, it's 70 feet or 100 feet from here to the water on the other side. So if we actually got out and just drug the kayak through the woods, we'd be right in the water on the other side, and then we wouldn't have to go out and all the way around and everything. So maybe we'll do that today just for something to do. Maybe we'll get out, just walk around, have a look at it, and then get back in and paddle around and then look at it again from the other side. The cove on the other side has a little island in the middle of it, and that was going to be kind of my goal, was just to go down, do a lap around the island, and, you know, again, no real purpose in being out here, but giving myself a destination, you know, it gives me something to do, it gives me a point to make for, rather than just kind of wandering aimlessly. So it's still going to be a few more minutes before I get down to the far corner where we're heading. So you all sit tight and I will see you down there. All right, normally there's a little bit of shoreline back here, but it's been a very, very rainy season so far. And as a result, the reservoir is full. So let's make sure the kayak doesn't float away. All right, and we can go have a little stroll through the woods. So if we go this way, I guess now that I'm looking at it, it's more than 50 or 100 feet that I was thinking originally. So this would be a bit of a challenge to haul the kayak through here, but I suppose if I had to, I could. All right, let's go a little bit further. And I'm gonna stop right here. You can see the water right through there. So I think what we're gonna do, actually, you know what? We're right here. Let's take the extra 30 seconds it'll take to walk over here since we've come this far. This is my kind of way to spend a Sunday afternoon. Now, I can already see that the wind is definitely blowing into this area, much more so than the cove that we've got the kayak parked at. So, this is it. And if you look right there, you can see that clump of trees is an island. It's not a big island, but it's enough of an island that you can get out and walk around on it. So this clump of land is what I was referring to as being teardrop shaped. It's fairly narrow where we walked across, but we would have to go out all the way out to the main channel and then come in from up that way, which I think we're going to do anyway. Again, I came out here to really spend some time and, you know, use this battery up and see how long life I can get out of it. So I'm going to walk on back to the kayak and get my legs stretched out a little bit, and then we'll hit the water again and make our way around, and we'll eventually be right back here and we'll be looking at this from the water's point of view. So sit tight and I'll see you back at the kayak. All right, everybody. Now on the way in here, a beaver splashed into the water over there. I didn't get it on video, unfortunately, but I did see a beaver over there, so we might get to see some interesting wildlife. And it's not uncommon to see blue herons out here either. And I haven't seen one of them yet anywhere today, not even flying off in the distance, so we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. So we're heading back out to do what we had just discussed. We got to go out here and around this bend, and I know this looks like the bend to the main channel, but it is not. It's kind of deceiving. We've got a little bit more of a paddle than that just to get out to the main channel, and then we have to paddle downstream for, I don't know, several hundred yards, and then that'll put us to the mouth of that cove, and then we have to paddle all the way back into the back of that cove to where we just were. So let's get around this point here. I love the way the trees look right up against the shoreline, the way the roots grow sideways and they just hang on desperately. I've already seen a couple of fallen trees today, and you can never tell till you get right up to them whether or not they've fallen simply because of the wind and time, soil erosion, etc., or were they just simply chewed down by a beaver. So I specifically wanted to come back and have a look at these couple of trees back here. That one right there, I always like to look at. I always find that one interesting. And then this one here is so old and fallen and rotten, but still very much alive. It's got moss and fern and everything growing on its broken, twisted trunk. But if you look at it, you can avoid hitting other fallen trees. That's all it right there. It's all green and living and doing well. Got a few little daylilies dotting back there through the ferns. Got a million little baby fish hiding back here. This is great habitat for fish to hide. There's big old bass swimming right there. Once again, wish I had my fishing rod. So we still have to go out and around this point, and then that still doesn't even put us out into the main channel. So let's get out around here real quick. Make sure I'm not going to hit anything with that. I'm not sure where that even comes from. It goes down that way. So we need to go out around this point out here, and that'll put us out into the main channel. And then from there, we need to start heading on downstream and into that other cove. And before I end, I will say this is another spot I actually often will come and park the kayak to get out and walk around. It's a sandy beach. You can even hear the water lapping on the shore, almost like you're at the beach. And then the trees through here are the same sort of, growing right up to the edge of the water. Those two have their roots intertwined, almost like they're holding each other up. That one there is twisted and half fallen. Here's a pine tree that's still hanging on desperately, but it's fallen out into the water. There's a lot of good stuff, a lot of interesting visual appeal as we coast along the shoreline. So, alright, there's an endless parade of them. I could keep videoing on and on and on, and we're just going to keep seeing more and more and more of them. Just heard what sounded like some deer crashing through the woods up there. So around this point brings us out towards the main body. We kind of technically are getting into the edge of the main body here. So now we need to sort of start going down and around the bend, and then we'll find that other cove down there. So hang on, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Alright everybody, here we come around the bend, and as we saw when we were out on foot, the wind back here is significantly different than it was in that last cove. So instead of getting out of the wind, I feel like I just put us right back in the wind. But that little patch of land out in front of us is the island that we're heading towards, sort of. I think before we go to the island, what we're going to do is go back to where we just were on foot. And we'll have a little look at that real quick. You get a more of an idea of what I was talking about. So let's try to power through that and get out of this wind a little bit. Alright, we're getting there. The big old cart just dashed off. There was 2 or 3 spots as we made our way down the main channel along the shoreline where I heard what sounded like the crashing of deer running off, you know, startled deer running through the woods, but I never did see any of them. Alright, we're almost within sight of it. Once we come around this last tree sticking out, we'll actually see our destination at least. So I didn't even think to look at the clock when we got out of the, or got into the kayak before, but I haven't taken a break since we've been on the water. And I bet it's probably been 15 minutes, maybe longer, of steady paddling. Now, I'll grant you, I haven't been paddling at this pace for the entire time, but I've been steadily making my way here the whole time. So if I really was trying to just get from one body of water to the next as quickly as possible, it really would have made more sense to just drag the kayak right across that little sliver of land, and I'd have been there. It's interesting the way the bottom's all muddy through this one little stretch right here. I almost thought maybe it was a bunch of carp in there rooting around churning up the mud, but I don't think it was. I think it's just the bottom. I think it was a little sandy humpback of land. Alright, I'm going to need to take another break once we get back here. Alright everybody, we made it. There's your view that we just stood here a few minutes ago and looked at. And there's the view of the island. So I don't necessarily need to get out and stretch my legs, but I am probably just going to park the kayak here out of the sun for a few minutes and have a drink of water, catch my breath, and then we're going to make our way back out over towards that little island. Maybe we'll get out and have a little stroll around on the island or something, and then I think after that we're going to start making our way back towards the boat launch. So sit tight and I'll see you in a second. Alright, so we're back in the kayak, and I don't think I'm going to get out on the island here. I just feel like I had a little bit of a break. I don't really want to get out and walk around or anything. In fact, I think all we're really going to do is go past the island, because it's nothing really of interest to see other than the fact that it's an island, you know. There's an interesting tree around on the far side of it. We can see that probably on our way back, or if we go around it. But I'm kind of curious as to what is down in that corner of this cove, because it's very similar to where we had stopped and gotten out and walked around before. And I'm almost wondering, if we get out here, is this just a little piece of land that we could go right to the other side and see some more water over there? So I don't know. I know if we keep going far enough downstream, we get to the mouth of George's Creek. And if you're familiar with my videos, and you know, you've seen my outdoors videos, you know I go to George's Creek quite a lot. So that would be a long paddle. That would be a day trip, just getting down there and back. And then of course to paddle all the way up to the areas of George's Creek where I'm used to fishing and walking and hiking and everything. That's all the way up the other end of George's Creek. So we'll probably never make that paddle, but you never know. And then of course I can always go in George's Creek from the other end and paddle my way down. So that's something that we'll be doing here in the fairly near future as well. So that's kind of it for the interesting tree. I know it's no details coming out on this camera, but it's just a big tree that's sort of half fallen and leaning out over the water. Again, that's just always, I don't know, I find that interesting to look at visually. So we're going to forego the little island. I come out here often enough that we can check that out any old time. So right now we're going to head over into this corner, and that is probably going to be the end of the line. From there we'll start heading on back to the boat launch. So give me a minute, let me paddle across here, and then I'll see you down there in that far corner. Alright everybody, here we are. There's no air movement at all back here. You can actually sort of see a haze in the air. It's really muggy. It almost feels like it's the kind of humidity you get right after a really big rainstorm and a hot afternoon when the sun comes back out and you see all that steam rising up off the ground. That's kind of what it feels like back here. So I can see light just as plain as day right through the trees there. That gives me the impression that we're not looking at much land between here and there. It just doesn't look very hospitable. I don't really think I want to get out and walk across that to see what's over there. But it really doesn't look like it's very far. And we'd be over on land again. Let's come over this way. If I could see a clear path to walk through there, I'd go ahead and hop out real quick and check it out. But again, I can see right through there. It's got to be water over there, or a big clearing in the woods if it's not, you know, more of the reservoir right over there. So I'll definitely be checking the map when I get home tonight. I'll have a look at the satellite or the overhead picture and see what it looks like. There's our little island out there, and then we got to go out to the main channel and way up that way to get home. Let's see if I can get over this without bottoming out. Yep, apparently I can. Alright, this looks promising. Or does it? Oh, it does. It almost looks like there's a trail right through here. Could it be a trail through here? And if it is, what's over there to have a trail leading to here? don't know, but that is definitely a trail right here. So let's go find out where this trail goes. Well, it doesn't go immediately to the water, that's for sure. All right, this is a fire trail. There's plenty of them through the reservoir area back here. And I'm sure if we go far enough this way, we'll come to the side of the road somewhere where people park their cars and get out and hike in. And there's the water right there, sure enough. So again, this looks pretty inhospitable to walk through. But you can see the tire tracks where the county comes through here and does maintenance. Oh, you know what? As I was coming up here, I heard what sounded like a tree branch cracking and falling, like a huge tree. And there it is. This just fell as we were approaching. It broke right off of there, and you can actually see in the middle there's some like sticks and grass and branches, so something had a home inside the center of that, and now they are homeless. So I'm sure there's plenty of vacant properties around here. Now I got to figure out where this little fire trail is and where exactly I am on the map. Yay, this is exciting. I'm glad I found something new down here. Again, it's not that big a deal. It'll just be a new way to get in and out. If I ever wanted to come down this way on foot, I'll know where it is. And I'm dying to see what part of the reservoir this is. Because I've talked about coming down to George's Creek a lot over the years, and I've just never done it. Oh, this is going to hurt. This is a barberry bush. Ouch, 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 ouch. Well, somebody has recently come through here, unless this was water flowing down through here, but this looks like some person or somebody was walking through here. Oh yeah, this is definitely somebody else came through here not long ago. They might even still be down here, the way the grass is crunched down like this. Well, let's see. Looks like they went that way and under. But it also looks like there's a little path that goes right here and through. This looks more like where the beavers go. This is probably where the beavers drag branches down into the water. So, all right. Definitely have some research to do when I get home, looking at the map, trying to figure out where this is exactly. Now, let's see if I can make my way back out of here without having lost my way already. And through the barberries again. Ouch, 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 ouch. Well, I got to do a little bit of hiking on top of my kayaking today. Alright everybody, it was a fun little side adventure. So now we are going to make our way back on out to the water. I want to see where this little trail comes up to. That's what I suspect. It's probably people just coming up to make their way along the edge so they can fish in various places. So alright, like I said, that's that little island out there. We're going to go out past that and head on up. Again, I love these NRS Velocity shoes. They're just awesome. Alright everybody, I'll see you back on the water. Alright everybody, we got a little company. I don't know how well it's coming out on camera or not, but I've got a great big yellow and black dragonfly right on the tip of the kayaks. Really cool looking dragonfly. He's been there for the last 5 minutes or so. So we're making our way back, but we're making our way back the long way. I thought about it after I stopped videoing for that last little segment, and I've got my phone in my pocket. So I went ahead and had a look at my map, and sure enough, that water we were looking at is the very mouth of George's Creek. And this body of land is far more than teardrop shaped. It comes out and it zags all around, and we would have to go all the way around this body to get to that water. And I don't know if it would be worth trying to drag the kayak through where we just walked or not, but in theory now I could actually leave the boat launch, cut through that first place we were, cut through there, and I would be in George's Creek, and I could skip all of the running down the channel part of the paddle. So I'm not 100% sure what we're going to be doing from here, because all of that dark scary looking sky is heading our way, and I can hear thunder rumbling. And I can even smell the change in the weather coming, so I think we're going to be in for some weather before we get back. Now, there goes my little dragonfly friend. As far as where we are, this point right here marks the mouth of the cove that we're in, and then this would be the main channel. So we really need to go that way. That's our little island that we were looking at before. And up around the bend and right into where all that darkness is where the boat launch is. So I think what I want to do is go straight to the opposite shore and get out of the channel. The water's about 70 or 80 feet deep through here, and I would just feel a little better being closer to shore. If the weather does change really bad, if lightning crops up, I can always pull over somewhere and get out. I know getting under the trees is not the best option, but given the choice between being under the trees in the woods or being out on the open water, I'll take the trees. Either way, we've got some interesting scenery to look at on the other side. There's some big rocky outcrops, and there's a couple of areas where the rocks have a bunch of lichen growing all over them. It's just really interesting looking stuff. I don't know whether you can see it or not, but there's a big rocky outcropping right there. I was thinking about making our way towards that, but that's kind of the wrong direction. We really need to be heading this way. Although again, I'm just really reluctant to head towards that. I'm kind of hoping it just blows by rather than, you know, becoming part of our day. So let's hope for the best, because I think that's going to become part of our day here very shortly. At any rate, I will see you on the other side, and then we're going to start making our way back up towards the boat launch. Alright everybody, here we are on the opposite shore. Like I said, we got some interesting rock structures. It's very sheer and cliff-like on this side. But I gotta say, I'm a little concerned about the weather. We have to go all the way up there. I know you can't even see it on the camera, but that's where we need to go just to get to where the cove the boat launch is in, and then we have to paddle all the way up to the boat launch. So I don't know if I should just make my way for it or if I should make my way along the shoreline. This shoreline here is the interesting stuff I was talking about looking at, but at the same time I really feel like I should just sort of beat feet, so to speak, and get on out of here. So I think that's what we're going to do. think I'm going to go catty corner to this opposite shore. So again, if I need to get out, I've got some land I can get out on, and then from there we're going to go back across the channel to where we need to be, and we're going to let the current and the wind and everything sort of work with us on the way back out of here. But I think it's time to call this the end of today's trip and get on out of here. So I'll see you up around the bend or somewhere along the line. Well, here we are coming around this point. Now we're sort of officially getting into the cove that the boat launch is in. And so far we've had the current at our backs helping us out. I've been steady paddling. Haven't gotten a drop of rain yet, but I can still hear the thunder. And it's still getting darker. So I don't know if we're gonna miss it or hit it or what, but I think it's just prudent to continue making our way towards the boat launch and getting on out of here. So we're coming down the home stretch now. I guess you can see that little white line not too far off in the distance. That's the little bridge we come in on. So just before that bridge, the boat launch is off to the right. So maybe we'll get a minute or two of video paddling our way on out of here, but other than that, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up and call it good. I don't know if you can hear that on video or not, but it's a-coming. This is going to be close, but I think we're going to make it. We just got to get up around this next point of trees sticking out. And from there we'll be able to actually see the boat launch. It'll still be a few hundred yards to paddle, but we'll be within sight of the boat launch. When I came here, that parking lot was full, and now I can see my truck and 3 others. And I know that I've got one boat coming up behind me right now, so they're on their way out sensibly. So, all right, everybody, I think we made it. So thanks for joining me. Hope you had a good time. I know I did. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Make sure you're subscribed. That way you won't miss anything else. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you real soon in the next one.